Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alice. We talk about books, we do lifestyle vlog content, a little bit of everything, alright? So if you're looking for someone to stick on in the background whilst you make yourself a meal, clean your room, do that thing you've been putting off for the longest time, or you just want someone to listen to, then I'm your gal. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Welcome on into the family. It is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. So, what are we going to be talking about today? I did that purposely really bad so we didn't get copyrighted, right? Yes, that is the case. We are talking about the Fellowship of the Ring. Ah! No, I'm joking. Sorry. When I first ever watched the film, that is all my boyfriend and I ever kept doing. We just look at each other and go, anyway. So, yes, today we're going to be talking about the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, confession, this book has not been read. But what do you mean, Alice? Yes, I actually read this book on audiobook. Can you believe it? This is my first ever audiobook. Wow, look at that. See? You know, we have the physical copy. So, all good vibes. So yeah, this was my first ever book I have read through the use of an audiobook. Now, I was a bit like, not sure I see the hype, not sure I see the appeal. And to be fair, I'm not sure if I would want to listen to every type of book, every genre in this way, but I'm really enjoying The Lord of the Rings because I'm listening to it narrated by Andy Serkis. And if you know, then Andy Serkis is an amazing voice actor and he does the voice for Gollum. So honestly, he's just great and you genuinely feel like you're listening to 10 different people. Like, it doesn't feel like the same person. It's crazy. Also, sorry if I sound a bit today. I think I'm getting a bit sick and I think it's my boyfriend's fault. So, boo! I need to not be sick for this weekend. So, I'm gonna take a nice chilled day after we've done this, alright? Nice chilled day. One to rule them all, eh? What did we think of the Fellowship of the Ring? So, first and foremost, I gave it a 5-star. Honestly, Tolkien, however you want to say it. What a fantastic writer. I mean, obviously I know I was listening to it being spoken, but it was just so clever and I can't believe he wrote so many songs and all the Elvish language and all stuff like that. I think that's really cool, and I do think that's one thing that maybe I did miss from the audiobook is that although it got said and mentioned, I didn't actually see, let me find an example, I didn't actually see it. They didn't have a visualization, like for example, like in the book you have the, and like when you have the songs, but I think it made it easier to visualize because then you could actually imagine that character sort of singing like la 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 or whatever. So I feel like it was a bit easier. I think it would be harder to keep your motivation when you're reading it, but yeah, honestly, I mean, if you know, you know. Tom Bombadil, how long did that go on for, huh? Oh, Tom Bombadil. Like, I was genuinely walking along listening to it. Like, someone came up to me, like those TikTok trends, and said, excuse me, what you're listening to? And then I played it to them and they're like, oh, Tom Bombadil, Tom Bombadillo. Yeah, honestly, I kind of understand why they cut him out the film, but good times. Anyway, we're sidetracking. What did I think of this book? So I gave this book a 5-star, absolutely no doubt in my mind. It was a 5-star. It had adventure, it had friendship, it had fantasy. It was just all new. It just had everything. Alright, and I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I got so much more backstory, so much more kind of a relationship with the characters, so I really enjoyed that, and genuinely, yeah, 5-star read, fantastic, super great. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I mean, setting the bar high for the rest of the trilogy. You know, I normally say the first book's the worst one. Maybe this won't be the case this time, but we shall see. I haven't decided on a final rating yet, but I'm gonna probably say like a 9 out of 10. I'm not sure if it was a 10 out of 10, just because maybe in some places it did like drag a little bit. I feel like I still enjoyed it. I still was like, oh yeah, like I'm excited to listen to it, or I was actively seeking out ways to listen to it. And as I'm doing my 75 hard, if you want to go and watch that video, go watch it. It's also been really good for me going on the walks because it makes it feel like no time has passed when you're running or working out or walking and you're listening to songs. I don't know about you, but when I'm not in the mood that day, I'm like fixated. So I'm like, oh, one song's done, that's 5 minutes, etc. But when you're listening to the audiobook, you have no idea the time, so you just go on the route and you don't even think about it. And I really prefer that. Honestly, I genuinely haven't worked out listening to music in the longest time. I've always been listening to The Lord of the Rings. I am now on, I think, chapter 5 of the Two Towers. Some of these chapters are super long, I will say that, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Obviously there's no spice in these books. It is the Lord of the Rings. It's not meant to be spicy, so if you're looking for a spicy read, look elsewhere. I know most people have read this, but if asked would I recommend, I would say 100% yes. I do think it wouldn't be for everyone, so if you don't particularly like adventure or fantasy, then maybe it's not your kind of book. If you prefer thrillers or just romance, that's completely fine. But I would say if you want to give it a go, definitely go for it. And I would really recommend listening to the audiobook, especially if you're not sure whether you'll be able to actually stick the book out. I would say give the audiobook a go, because it genuinely just immerses you in another world. It's great. Like, I've literally sometimes just been, oh, I'm gonna clean my room, right, I'm sticking on the audiobook straight away, you know. So you know how I always write my reviews for books? I kind of found it harder to write a review for this one because of listening to it on the audiobook, which I think maybe I would say is my one downfall. I was a little bit worried that I hadn't remembered certain bits right, but I'm sure I have, because you get the understanding, you get the gist and stuff. I was a little bit like, oh. So I haven't written a proper review yet, but I will share those when I get to the end of the trilogy and we can talk all about them, all right? My overall thoughts, just in terms of the basic things, was that I genuinely loved all the characters. I think the way that each character has their own traits and their own sort of mannerisms is really good, because he continuously keeps us up throughout the book. I also love that there's lots of bits happening at the same time, if that makes sense. So you sort of hear this person's perspective, then this person's perspective, but it's not done in a, oh, this is this person's POV. It just kind of, it's done very subtly. I don't know how to explain it, but you know, you kind of have Frodo doing some talking, then you move on to another character, but you can tell that we've moved on to the other character, if that makes sense. I do quite enjoy that. I very much liked the way it ended. It was very suspenseful, and I feel like it's cool because in going into the second book you get this sort of split up of multiple stories happening at the same time, and I really like that. So I also feel that every character has an importance. Even though Frodo is the ring bearer, he's not necessarily seen as more important in the book than the other characters. Like, they all get their say, they all get their moments to kind of step up and be brave or have these nice moments shared with another character. So I do quite like that, because it can be quite easy to just fixate on the main character and make everything happen to them, etc, etc. So I do genuinely like the way that this has happened. And obviously, you know, I'm not the first person to be like, oh, I like the style of Tolkien's writing. Obviously that's not a new and original thought, but I definitely agree with that, and I definitely think that he's very clever in his writing. I understand how it's not for everyone. I do understand that, but I mean, I loved it. I also think if you like things like Harry Potter, you'll definitely like it as well. Maybe, I don't know if you're an ACOTAR fan, whether you'd like this because it's not so spicy, but if you like the fantasy element of that, you'll definitely like Lord of the Rings. But you know, I don't need to sell it. It's already popular enough on its own. It has a major massive fan base. Lots of people love it. I was only introduced to it fairly recently in the last few years, and it's because I always knew it was around, but this is kind of embarrassing, kind of exposed. When I was younger, and arguably still now, I was scared of a lot of things, and I loved Harry Potter, but some of the scenes sometimes were a bit much for me. And also watched Star Wars, but that one wasn't too bad. But my dad always said to me, don't watch The Lord of the Rings until you're older, because you'll love it, but you'll be really scared of the orcs. And I trusted him, and I didn't try and tempt it and didn't try to watch it. And then I finally watched it with my boyfriend a couple of years ago, and I loved it, but I could tell that as a kid I would have been scared of the orcs, and that would have kind of created a negative picture for me, and I wouldn't have necessarily watched it. So that's why it's taken me so long. I'm definitely a gal that loves the long series of multiple books and really get into something like Harry Potter, like Star Wars. So I'm so glad that Lord of the Rings is now up in that section for me. But yes, honestly, my thing is that we're almost at the end of 2024. I can't believe how quick this year has gone. So if you haven't read Lord of the Rings already, what are you doing? Go and do it. Go pick it up. It's been on your shelf for a long time. Come on. Or go listen to the audiobook. Do a little free trial with Audible. They're always giving them out. And just honestly listen to it when you're on your way to work, when you're going for a walk, anything. It's so nice. Cleaning the house, just get immersed. alright? And it also broadens your vocabulary, gives you all the benefits of reading. It's just a little bit easier. So this is not sponsored by Audible, hashtag wish it was, because it's my new favourite app. Go read this book. Now just to finish off, I'd like to share with you the iconic very start of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in the halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die, 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie, 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. La 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 la. So, honestly, look at that. It gets me goosebumpy, and when Mr. Andy Serkis reads it, woo! Honestly, next level. Okay, next level. Go read it, have fun, enjoy. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much. And as always, until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye! Woo! I forgot to put thanks for watching in the last video. How jokes. Silly girl, silly girl. Stay tuned for the October spooky season TBR update. Okay.